Welcome to the Wellness Pulse with Monica Stevens. From CPR to self-care, staying in rhythm with your well-being. Thanks for tuning in.
My name is Aubi, and I'm going to touch a bit here on the reality of the situation. So for some perspective, I wanted to kind of set the stage here. So my day job is I'm a CRNA, I work in cardiac anesthesia, so in open heart surgery. Lots of sick cases. There's probably something a little wrong with me for working there, but I love it. There's no hesitation, you have to act quick, and you're really good at your skills. I also am an ACLS instructor, CPR instructor, do classes for the public in many different awareness events. So I have this view as a clinician and as an instructor. And it's interesting. No hesitation when you are taking care of a dying patient, right? The CPR classroom can be a little bit different. So hesitation is something that is quietly brought in with people. And when I say people, do I mean healthcare people? Do I mean lay providers? Unfortunately, I mean everyone, truly. Who here are instructors? Okay. So anyone want to just shout out why do breaths matter for CPR? What's the difference with performing CPR if a victim has breaths? What changes? Nothing. Okay, nothing, right? Right. So breaths do not change the mechanics of CPR. What do? They change behavior. And what happens because of that? Women get less CPR. I believe as an instructor, whether you do it for a job, for profit, or you are just spreading awareness, it is really all of our responsibilities. If you are owning that title as an instructor, that is on you, it is on all of us to make things better. How do we do that? Well, we need to normalize the anatomy, and then hopefully change the response, right? If we make it normal and people are comfortable practicing, then they're not gonna be hesitating in class, and they won't be hesitating in real life when it actually happens. That's the goal. So we have a couple different types of hesitation here. The first one, anatomical hesitation. It's a training problem. It is a training problem. Why is this a training problem? Well, because mannequins with breasts are not a part of training. So people get awkward, they're not sure where to put their hands, what happens if I touch a nipple, are people gonna be looking at me weird? Even these are just with mannequins, people are thinking these things. So if someone is hesitating on a rubber or plastic mannequin, what do we think is gonna happen when there's an actual woman on the ground? I don't think it's gonna get any better. 95% of CPR mannequins are flat-chested. I expect this should be a little higher than average, just by who is in the room. Who here has trained on a mannequin with breasts? All right, I honestly thought it was gonna be a little bit more, but okay, there's some people. So, and this is a group of CPR instructors, and I would say less than a third of the people raise their hands. I'm just gonna let that sink in for a minute. Why? Why? So what do we do? What do we need? We need to normalize anatomy. This isn't sexual, it's not social, it's anatomy. It's anatomic, factual data information. We are making an issue when it does not need to be an issue. And honestly, that is on all of us in this room as well. The other type of hesitation, the more common one, social hesitation. There's a cultural problem. This is just a cute picture I wanted to share. My husband and I, this was on Halloween last year. We both kind of bought some shirts that are like nude color, skin color, and we put, you know, some AED training pads on us, and we walked around the neighborhood. And people were like, what is that? And that was an opportunity to, it was a little thing, I thought it was really fun actually. We were like, what is this? We got to talking and we explained to people, you know, this is where AED pads go on if there's an emergency, this is where you would push if you were to give someone bystander CPR, and then also talked about how women receive less, you know, bystander CPR than men. And as Dr. Bella pointed out, it's not men giving women less CPR, it's men and women giving women less CPR. So it's definitely not an attack on, you know, men by any means. Fear of accusations is probably the number one reason that I hear that people hesitate. They don't want to get accused of sexual assault or looking like a perv. The fear of accusations is greater than the fear of doing nothing. And that is a truly powerful statement if you let that sink in. That's more important. You're afraid you're going to get in trouble more than you're afraid of someone dying. That's pretty astonishing. The fear is real. I acknowledge it. I'm not saying I completely understand it, but I acknowledge it's a real fear. But is it logical? Is it logical? Is it logical? I don't think it always is logical. It's food for thought for a lot of people, including myself. I ponder this. If you're not doing something that you're not supposed to be doing to someone that's unconscious, I think that that's okay. You should have some peace of mind knowing that. I dived through the archives for as long as I could dig back, and I, to date, and someone please approach me after and correct me, I could not find a single circumstance where someone was criminally convicted of assault for giving someone bystander CPR. But yet we keep saying, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that, but is that logical? Is that really happening? You Google CPR, how to do CPR. Take a class in CPR, you watch a YouTube video, what do you see? This. Did we notice anything about this image? Something that is not present? Yeah. We need to make training more inclusive. We just need to be putting it out there because it's normal. But by obviously just completely eliminating women, we're making it seem like the women are the problem. We've made some progress, and I'm very proud of the slow progress that the industry is making. There's been a couple mannequins that now have breasts on them. So we're headed in the right direction, and I have incorporated all of these mannequins in my training. This is my little video I made here that Annie, Annie, are you okay? And the answer is no, Annie is not okay. Annie's not okay because no one's helping her. So the female mannequin. Adipose tissue does not equal identity. I'm not looking at anyone or pointing at anyone, but women are not the only one with breasts. I'm just saying. We are making it seem like the problem is the female, the problem is the woman. Words do matter more than we think, and these are just little subtle ways that I think maybe are not so unintentionally embedded in this industry, in this culture. We have intentionally steered away from correct, factual, anatomic terminology. There's no controversy in that. It's factual, medical terminology. Why are we using it? We are steering away from that, and we are focused on women. Why? The hidden message. Women are the problem. My favorite topic. Bias in what we don't teach. So I'm just not going to touch it. I'm not going to say anything about it. Yeah, that's also contributing to the problem because by saying nothing, you are actually saying a lot. This is my favorite. This is the way we've always done it. And if you know, if anyone's on social media or CPR Instructor Network, you know, this is the way we've always done it. It's worked. It's a bestseller. This is the way it's always been done. So what is this hidden curriculum? So this is everything the student learns without you ever even saying a word. Everyone's guilty of it. Training centers, mannequin manufacturers, instructors, all reinforcing this bias because of what they choose to not teach. What do we need? Accountability. We need accountability. The public is a huge problem, but sometimes it's not always the public. Guess where the problem's coming from? It's inside the house. Sometimes the problem is us. And I, by no means, claim to be perfect. There's many things that I could probably improve on, and I'm just offering the invitation for everyone else to try to take a step forward and figure out ways that they could also improve and do things better. All right. I'm gonna read some comments. I'm not gonna go over all of them, there's a lot. I'm gonna read some comments that came from CPR. What happens when you challenge the flat mannequin norm to add more inclusive training? Challenging instructors, hey, let's make training more inclusive. What do we think the response is? Hard pass. There are real issues about bystanders. This is an instructor, a first responder. I have not purchased dark-toned mannequins. We also know race is an issue. Downright ridiculous and bigoted in his own right. I actually had a student ask why we don't make mannequins that simulate chest compressions on a big-breasted woman. My counter question was natural or augmented. It seemed to confuse her, and I told her to just think about it for a while. It's an instructor and a medic, or EMT. I've never seen the point of either female or different color mannequins personally. CPR business owner, training center, instructor. This is public. People are posting this under their own names, which I blurred out. These are people, I'm not gonna lie, probably some people in this room. I've been teaching CPR for over 15 years. My company averages over 30,000 people a year. We have a QA department and review feedback from key points weekly. Even though there seems to be some reality, I don't believe it's a necessity. 40 under 40 recipient at this event. Former 911 dispatcher. Why even bother displaying it? Given the state of the US today, if you saved a woman from dying, you would get arrested for molesting her. This is an instructor, a nurse, that is teaching this to other students. How many lives are people could have potentially died from this scenario? Because that person is teaching a group of people that's gonna then go out into the world and could be potentially facing a situation. Some of these are leaders in this industry. Totally unnecessary. I bleeped this out. Let them give themselves CPR. My favorite, this goes back to the classic bestseller, this is the way that it's always been done. I prefer to use my brain and not what I'm told. I've been doing this most of my life since 1976. In time, the science will reverse itself, always does. Oh, to be young. If you last long enough, you may learn what works and what doesn't. Can't do it. Guys that attend my class, nope, not gonna happen. It's gonna take forever to get through because everyone's goofing around because they're all 14 in the brain. But you know what? That might help my reviews. Instructor since 1977, dumb and waste of time and money. Why turn it into a sexual or racial agenda? Waste of money and useless. Total waste. You know your clients, and so do I. This particular version would definitely be an ongoing distraction. Made people uncomfortable, so I took it away and put my other mannequins back on. I'm not calling out any specific entities or organizations. I'm sure you have seen this disclaimer. A global organization that uses life-saving training in many countries that are sensitive to bare skin, particularly in females. Product development and science teams have chosen to keep emphasis on training to save lives and not detract from the messaging by showing potential images that would be distracting at the least and not shown at the most. Female victims are in first aid and often as possible in other scenarios. We're saying there's a need, there's a gap, women are receiving less CPR, but we're saying, you know what, it's making people uncomfortable, so we're just not gonna show it. Starting with the textbooks, the manuals. What are the images we see in these? We already talked about instructors. You already saw all those slides, and that was just a small fraction. Then we're giving that information to the learners. And then what's happening when those learners go into a real emergency? Why are we surprised that we have these rates? So 2025 guidelines, awesome. We addressed this. They said, you know, it might be reasonable to maybe adjust the bra instead of removing it for the defibrillator pads. So they are talking about it. And they do say that women do experience significantly less rates of CPR in public compared to men. So the science is acknowledging it, that there's a gap, and what can we actually do about it in the classroom? We need to normalize the uncomfortable and change the culture. This was a news clip that I did. I'm really not here. Healthcare provider, taking classes for 20 years. This is the first time she's ever seen mannequins with female anatomy. We don't rise to the occasion, we fall to our training. And right now we have some work to do. The global materials stay conservative. However, it is our responsibility here to fill in those gaps with evidence-based, realistic instruction. We must deliberately teach breast tissue, clothing removal, bra repositioning, and AED pad placement on bare skin. When we change how we teach and we change how we talk, we change who survives. So they mentioned mass campaigns and political social media awareness, which is what our lovely friends at Heart Charge have been doing. So some of the responses I've kind of already shared. I mean, from my students that I've got in my training, everyone goes out of their way to comment about the mannequin with breasts and how great they think they are and how important they are, and that they feel more comfortable after being exposed to that in training. Because they might be a little uncomfortable, but it's better to get over that feeling in training than in the actual situation. And we are getting a response. So everyone, you know, throughout, you know, the online world is calling this out, saying we need more inclusive training to represent female victims or people with breast.
Thanks again for listening. If you or anyone you know needs to learn CPR, first aid, or a life-saving skill, please contact People's Choice CPR and Safety. From CPR to self-care, the Wellness Pulse is staying in rhythm with your well-being. I'm Monica Stevens. Take care.